Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing as the New York Knicks go down to the Orlando Magic in Orlando and a tough loss, 108-117. Salute to the chat, salute replay squad. Let's talk about this frustrating night where the New York Knicks basically gave it away in the second quarter. This was a game where the New York Knicks led after the first quarter by 3 points. An incredible performance from Julius Randle. We'll talk about him. We'll give out the grades like we do. Shout out the chat. But the New York Knicks in the second quarter, man, 15-29. And I gave the Orlando Magic, made them look better than what they were, I felt. I don't think the Orlando Magic are that good. Got to give them credit. We will tonight. But the New York Knicks gave this one away. For me, a slow start from RJ Barrett in this game. Jalen Brunson stunk it up in the first half. Basically, it was just Julius Randle early. And his performance tonight was solid. But the New York Knicks shot 20% from deep. Right, that ain't going to cut it. So let's talk about it. Knicks Nation. Shout out to the chat. Hope everyone's feeling well. Happy holiday season. I've been on the road and I was also a bit unwell over the Christmas break. I had to miss a couple games, but we're back. Frustrating night. Would love to be talking about a win tonight, but the New York Knicks have got to take care of these struggles, right? They can't come out and play, 3 quarters, 2 quarters and expect to win, right? This is the new NBA now. There's some good teams out east, out west, and the Orlando Magic are on the come up, right? Frustrating. I would have loved to pick off this scalp, and beat the Magic in their building, MSG 3.0 in Florida. Shout out to every Knicks fan representing in the building down there. But the New York Knicks let this one slip, man, in my opinion. Right? If Julius Randle had more help, we win this game, right? We let Franz Wagner get his season high, which was frustrating, but quickly did what he did off the bench. We'll talk about him. He filled it up a bit. RJ Barrett did come along later in the game. We'll talk about his recent struggles, but more so early in this game, right? And he couldn't shoot at all. He couldn't hit a shot. But the Knicks, as a team, like I said, man, 20% from deep, that ain't going to cut it. And we're not going to win many games shooting like that. We do need to get to the paint, and bully our way there when we're not shooting as well. Julius Randle was doing that, I thought, really effectively early. He sat, but the bench unit was really difficult to watch in that second quarter. Right, 15-29, like I said. But the Knicks, more importantly, went 5 minutes without a bucket. Right, it's hard to fathom, an NBA franchise going 5 minutes without a bucket. Right, you got to do whatever you got to do. Get fouled, get to the rack, do something. You can't go 5 minutes without a bucket, and we kind of salvaged the second quarter a little bit late too. 15 points looked generous because the Knicks, had something like 5 points with 3 minutes remaining in that second quarter. But we fast forward all the way towards the end. The New York Knicks, like they always do, clawed their way back, fam. But the Orlando Magic got the favourable whistle. These refs were really bugging tonight. And I've introduced the refs avatar tonight. We're going to start giving the officials grades after every game, like we do when we give out the player grades tonight. Tibbs's grade. We're going to give out the officials their grade after every game now. So salute to the chat, salute Knicks Nation and Replay Squad. Hope you're all doing well. Appreciate you for supporting, and I hope your holiday season has been buzzing so far. We've got plenty more content coming through for the rest of this season. EJ will be back on the show soon as well. But yeah, wishing everyone health, happiness, blessings, and I hope many more blessings around the corner for us and for everybody in the coming new year. But we got to hit the road again, man, in Indiana tomorrow. This is the first of a back-to-back. and we let this one slip tonight. But without further ado, we're going to go through the statistics, give out the grades as well, continue to shout out the chat. Buzzer beaters here, salute. Appreciate you for checking in on me as well. Thought I was maybe left you guys, but no way. I was just unwell, unfortunately. I got some food poisoning over Christmas as well. But the New York Knicks obviously picked up an excellent win on Christmas Day, lapped that up. It gave us that Christmas gift. Unfortunately, though, the loss to Oklahoma was a poor loss. But we're here to look at the road ahead tonight. Sloppy game tonight. Buzzer beater says as well, yep, appreciate you, Will. Happy holidays. I didn't like this game at all, only Julius. Yeah, Julius has been a shining light recently, and ever since his slow start in the year, and he picked things up. Some questionable decision making from time to time. We're going to get that when they double quickly, and Julius has got to respond with moving the ball on. But when he is getting downhill, there is no doubt about it that Julius Randle is a special player. Not many players in the league, if any, can check him 1v1. Right, we saw tonight Orlando try to get the ball out of his hands early, but like Dermot says, salute. Orlando is big, and we'll talk about Jalen Brunson's struggles. I thought this was one of Brunson's worst games as a New York Knick, especially in the first half. It was difficult watch, to see him struggle like he did. But yeah, the size of Orlando was definitely at the top of the list, I think, as to why Brunson was struggling. RJ Barrett too, we badly needed more production from him. Ivory's in the building. What's good? IQ got to play more. Yep, we got some IQ commentary happening, of course, as the Knicks needed that extra scoring punch in Oklahoma as well. People aren't happy with Quickly's minutes. I'll give you my thoughts on that situation too. But yeah, it's time to really question the minutes distribution. We are 17 to 14 on the season, and we really got to recalibrate a little. I feel I thought the starting lineup switch up with DiVincenzo was the right move. Grimes hasn't done anything off the bench to suggest changing it back. But with Quickly's minutes, there's certainly that template substitutions that Thibodeau likes to make, and it's frustrating, when the Knicks do need to make a run, and it's clearly obvious who the best players are, in the game that should be playing more down the stretch too. But let's start things off with the stats, of course, and we give out the grades and look at the road ahead. But yeah, the Knicks hang in there late, but it was the second quarter that gave it away tonight for me. We got out-rebounded 62 to 48. We got 22 assists. They got 24. They got 10 steals, though. We were careless with the ball, but the Orlando Magic were a pesky defensive team. Swarming. They're quick. They're young. They're fast, athletic, and they do give us problems, man. Our decision making tonight really let us down. To some poor shot selection, just being generally careless with the ball, which I know is going to frustrate Tom Thibodeau. 16 turnovers, right? There's nothing that really frustrates me more as a Knick fan, basketball fan, than turnovers, right? The second quarter, you could hear the groans all around the world from Knicks Nation as to why this bench unit looks so bad. And then when Brunson came in, he stunk it up even more. So the 16 turnovers didn't help us tonight. There's no excuses. The Knicks had a day off. I know it's holiday season, but the Knicks shot themselves in the foot tonight. And of course, 3-point shooting. I mean, 20%. I don't need to say anything else. That's not going to win ball games. And it was 1% less than the Orlando Magic, and we still had a chance to win. So that's why I got 3-point shooting suspect for Orlando still. I'm not completely sold on Orlando. They are young, they're up and coming, but they're not as advanced as like an Oklahoma, in my opinion, guys. Now that we've seen Orlando up close, what is your initial impressions? Mine are that I'm not that impressed with them. They did get a favorable whistle late, like we said. One of those was the hit on Quickly. Should have been a turnover late. Fouls on Brunson numerous times, on Randle. At one point, Suggs was pulling, Brunson's jersey, and Mike Breen had to call them out as well. So, that'll factor into our officiating grades, tonight. But the Knicks have got to shoot better. They've got to move the ball better, take care of the ball better. And I think we could have won tonight as well, despite some struggles individually from Barrett and from some other guys. I thought Josh Hart specifically was pretty woeful in that second quarter as well. He was turning the ball over at will. So disappointing, man. We really are starting to slide a little with the Oklahoma and this loss, 17-14. We'll look at the East, but the Heat have come up all the way to 4th spot now. And then we have the Cleveland Cavaliers that have leapfrogged the Knicks as well. The Knicks are in 7th. Last time I checked, we got Indiana right behind us. And guess who we play tomorrow, man? Indiana in Hicktown. So that's going to be a huge game. The New York Knicks do need to stop this little skid, right? We need guys to step up. We didn't get a big game from Brunson tonight, and we do need RJ Barrett to really step up more. If he's not shooting well, he's got to impact the games in other ways, guys. So with that said, man, I really, really feel like we let this one slip. It's super frustrating. Of course, we're missing Mitch. We may not need to mention this every post game, but we're just not a same team defensively without Mitch. We miss his length, his size, his ability to gobble up those big rebounds. They've got some length with Goga, with Paolo, with Franz, Mo Wagner as well. Tonight he went small. Thibodeau late down the stretch, had some success offensively. Defensively, I thought we were able to stay in front of them better. But at the rim, of course, there's no rim protection with those guys. So, questions are going to be asked of Tom Thibodeau now. Whose minutes does he start to reduce, to give quickly more minutes? You got to look at Grimes. You got to look at RJ. You might have to reduce DiVincenzo's minutes in the starting lineup more to get quickly in there a little bit more. But, we'll talk about it as we get through each player, fam. But salute Buzzer Beater, salute chat and replay squad. Like I said, hope everyone's holiday season's been buzzing. Let's start things off. I want to give the first up the grade to the best player tonight. The best New York Knick was Julius Randle. Had double figures at the end of the first quarter. Had 19 points at the half. Almost finished with 40. And he finished with, looks like it was 38. Julius Randle has been playing good basketball offensively. When he's getting downhill, I thought the pick and roll was working well. He was isolating on the low block as well, and getting to the cup. He got the little back to the basket and turnaround fadeaway. I think he took this matchup a little personally. He wanted to get at Paolo early. He looked like he was wanting to be more aggressive tonight, and it was working. So Julius Randle had a great game. We'll bring up the box score now. So Randle finished with 16 of 25, with 64% from the field, but he missed four threes. Was 6 of 8 from the line, 9 rebounds defensively, 3 offensively, got 12 total. He got 6 assists, but 5 turnovers hurt us, 5 fouls, 38 points, and was the only starter that wasn't in the minus. So it was a 0 neutral. So shout out to him for that. Firstly, to be, the only guy playing 36 minutes, to not be, glaringly in the minus. Julius Randle came to play tonight. He gets his flowers from me. 64% from the field. He was really aggressive down low, making sure he was getting to the bucket as well, getting to the line 8 times. I love that. And the 6 assists, of course. Now, if he limits these turnovers, we know that's, gonna, make a huge impact for us. Those turnovers do really usually result in a fast break, in a layup. So that's the part of the game where, we may never see, really completely erased from Julius's game. You just hope that it's minimalized, you know. But he's a high usage guy. Players that do play with their back to the basket, they do get doubled a lot. They are going to get turnovers. You look at Kevin Durant, you look at those kind of players around the league, they do usually average 4 to 5 turnovers. So nothing out of the ordinary from tonight with that. But offensively, yeah, Julius Randle was cooking. Man, they had no answer. So my grade for Julius tonight, he's going to get, for me, he'll get an A for me tonight for Juju Randle. Would have got an A plus if we'd got the win. And also if he'd a couple less turnovers. But really, yeah, he carried us, tonight. There's no other way to say it. Brunson filled it up a little bit late and quickly also. And Barrett came on the scene late as well. But Randle didn't have enough help, especially in that first half. To be up 3 at the end of the first quarter, he did his job in that first quarter, but no one else stepped up, unfortunately. The second quarter, 15 points as a team, right? Julius Randle sat a lot of that. Julius Randle usually comes in at the 6-minute mark, something like that, in the second quarter. So Tibbs, should he have played him a little less in the first quarter, brought him back earlier in the second. That's what Tibbs' substitutions are as well. I'm not a big fan of it as well because it does ruin the flow of a lot of games. But obviously he could have got Randle back in there earlier. I thought you can't have a quarter with 15 points and really win basketball games regularly. We've got to do better than that. So Tibbs will be frustrated. But yeah, Julius Randle basically did all he could with his minutes, and he gets the A. What do you guys think of Juju? A minus. Buzzer beater's gone with Julius. Yeah, I feel you on the minus with the turnovers. I guess what I said was, yeah, with the 5 turnovers, you look at a lot of high usage players. They do average kind of high turnover ratio as well. But I love the 6 assists, getting to the cup as well. But frustrating from Jalen Brunson tonight. Let's talk about Jalen because, this is a performance we're not used to seeing very often. We saw it a little bit in FIBA, with a bit of physicality, a little bit of length. When you chuck that on Brunson, he can struggle. I don't think that was the main reason. I thought certainly Anthony Black was making him work. It did look like Black was the assignment, to get in Brunson, try to pick him up half court, make things more difficult getting into the set. And it did work a bit, but I thought Brunson just wasn't as aggressive early, and he was also inefficient. So it happens from time to time. But what did Brunson finish with, man? He was 12 of 12 from the free throw line. So he did get to the line quite a lot late. A lot of that was very towards the end, down the stretch. But 4 of 15. That's the numbers I'm looking at. 4 of 15 from Brunson, 26%. We don't see that very often. So got to bounce back tomorrow. Jalen Brunson won't hang his head tonight, but he was one of the reasons we couldn't pull this one out, right? Due to his poor start to the game. But 7 rebounds. He got 8 assists as well. 20 points on a -10 from JB. So he's got to be better. They got a lot of guards. Like I said, they got Black, Suggs, Cole. They're a deep team. This is a team with no Markel Fultz yet, and they've got no Jonathan Isaac, who adds more length. They're also missing Joe Ingles for the shooting as well. So I thought, yeah, frustrating, man. Missed opportunity. But Brunson's disappointing night for me. I know he sort of came on late. This one's going to be a little tough, but I'm going to give Brunson a C tonight. This is his worst grade of the season, I think. I'm going to say maybe way back in the first 4 games. Possibly he got a C as well. But yeah, 4 of 15 as well. Sorry, he missed all 4 of his 3-point shots as well. salvaged the game a little bit late, filling it up with 20 points, 12 of 12 from the line, but a minus 10 from your starting point guard, that usually means you're going to lose the game, right? If your starting point guard in 34 minutes is minus 10, you got a big hole to catch up. So Brunson gets the C for me tonight, and I think he'll bounce back. I think he's a player that, like I said, he usually plays one bad game every 10 games. So you take it. It's not ideal, but players have their bad games from time to time. Tonight, unfortunately, bad timing was Brunson's. So Buzzer also is going with the C for Jalen tonight. Salute. Yep, good minds think alike. And we play Indy tomorrow in the back-to-back. Yes, sir. We can't catch a break. Yeah, we also heard Breen talk about tonight, fam, that the Knicks have played something like a record road games, I believe, to start the year. It's finally going to start to even out a little bit with more home games I think in late Jan, early Feb. But yeah, it's been rough, really. We're 3 games over 500. It could be a lot worse, Imagine if we never beat Phoenix, we never beat the Lakers, and we didn't pull off the statement win on Christmas Day. Things would be looking pretty rough in terms of the schedule, the standings. But we did some heavy lifting early, and I think we're going to get on a little bit of a run later in the year. Let's hope we haven't dug ourselves, too much of a hole as we chop up the rest of the league later, because the East is coming, man. But next guy up is R.J. Barrett. A tale of two halves for Barrett. I felt the first half he was extremely poor, inefficient, slow start, but finished with 7 of 17, 41%, 1 of 5 from deep, 4 of 5 from the line. Got 6 boards, 2 assists, a steal, 2 turnovers, 19 points, but was a worse minus 22 as the starting shooting guard, or starting 3 for the New York Knicks. The wing spot, I think defensively Barrett's okay, holding his own. He did well late in the game. I'll start with the positives. RJ scored late, easily filling it up on Cole Anthony. They took advantage of the mismatch, which was good to see. Also before that, he was getting to the cup a little bit more with the push shot, scoring more efficiently in the second half. But the shot is the biggest issue at the moment with RJ Barrett. Pre-migraine RJ Barrett, right? I would give anything to go back to that, where he was shooting well with confidence, he was scoring easily, and since then it's just been the same RJ Barrett from the year prior, where it's been extremely streaky. Even the mid-range shot tonight, he had a couple of mid-range looks. They didn't go down. You hang your hat on the foul shooting. The free throw shooting has improved from RJ Barrett this year, but from what I'm seeing from today, this season, not much else has improved from last year. Post migraine, RJ Barrett, earlier in the year, he started. He was the best New York Knick. You could say whatever it is, whether it's rhythm or defenses are locking in. Maybe he's just regressed back to the mean. For me, I'm kind of a little bit more of RJ Barrett. It's a situation where obviously the starting lineups changed a little bit with Devo, but with RJ, it's the shot. The fact is nothing's improved with the jump shot based on the prior years. 1 of 5 from deep. That's hurting the team, right? We need RJ Barrett to at least be shooting a 36% clip this year, 37% clip from deep, to really push this team forward. The shooting at the rim has gotten better. The foul shooting has gotten better as well. But yeah, the 3-point shooting, the decision making is really what's gonna, I think, set the scene for RJ this season. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to the trade period. Leon Rose is sitting here, he's evaluating. And he's got to do it from a perspective of, there's got to be no attachment, whether he's the third pick, whether he's been here 5 years. Any GM is just going to evaluate the talent they've got based on, is this player a keeper? Are they going to, help push the organization forward? Where we're at this point in the season, right? It could go either way. The way Leon Rose is looking at things, we do need to give up a big salary to get another bigger salary if we do make a trade. It could be in the summer, and we let this season play out. But right now, something has got to change with Barrett's shot. It's got to become more efficient, right? It's been more of the same in terms of inefficiency. Getting to the cup, decision making is slightly improved, and I feel like the foul shooting, but not much else in terms of his overall game. So, man, tonight's performance, he did bounce back later in the game, but I can't really give him the same grade as Brunson, I feel, because Barrett was the one of the worst, or basically the worst in the plus minus. So, for his grade, I'm going to give RJ Barrett a C minus for his performance. With RJ, he got to the line late as well, 4 or 5 solid. I like the 6 rebounds. 2 turnovers is okay, you can live with that. 1 steal, but 7 of 17, and also 1 of 5 from deep. That's not gonna cut it. He was lucky he got to the line a little bit more to push the tally up to 19, but the minus 22 is what I'm concerned about as well. So as the starting wing. Buzzer says RJ is in the long line of streaky scorers for the Knicks. No doubt about it. And if you want to get better, you could be a mediocre player in the league. People could debate it all day, every day, whether a player is a keeper or not. All a general manager or a president needs to look at is this player worth, keeping around? Are they going to help push the organization forward? And if you're continuously streaky, the answer to that is going to be no. It's just simple. If you're a manager or a owner of a business, let's say a restaurant, a food chain, and you got an employee that each night you don't know what performance you're going to get, is that a employee or is that a manager you're going to build towards, build with for the future? If they're streaky, if they're inconsistent, the answer to that is probably no. So at the end of the day, you need to just see what you need to see, and then you need to make a decision based on that. The question is going to be, has the front office seen enough yet, or are they going to continue to evaluate longer? Obviously, as the season continues, like I said, there's going to be a lot more trade buzz coming down the pipe. There's going to be players mentioned for salary purposes, etc. But at the end of the day, specifically relating to Barrett and the Knicks, he's going to become more consistent with his production. So on a night where, tale of two teams, we're looking at the Orlando Magic, that are coming up, full of young players. They're, like Oklahoma. They'll be looking at okay, which players do we need to keep around, because our roster is starting to get quite full. It's a logjam, and which players do we need to build with? So the New York Knicks are looking at the same thing. Emmanuel Quickley, is a situation with his contract and minutes, right? 28 minutes tonight. Quickley's a guy who has to get a contract after this year, and the Knicks need to make that decision, right? So I think that's all tied into RJ Barrett in a way, as well as DiVincenzo, Josh Hart. A lot of these players might be in trade discussions, so just prepare yourself, Knicks Nation, coming up. With that said, let's hit on Donte DiVincenzo, the starting shooting guard for the Knicks tonight. Devo was 1 of 7 and 0 of 5 from deep. Yikes. 4 fouls, minus 12, only 1 rebound, 2 assists, 14% from the field, 0% from deep. We don't need to dwell on this one too much. Unfortunately, when we needed a big performance, this is one of the worst games for Devo for the season. He gets an F. Simply put, plain and simple, man. That's a bum night for a starting shooting guard. A couple of the threes were wide open. That would have helped the Knicks gain some momentum in that second and third. 15 points in the second. The start, it was okay, but Julius Randle was obviously doing the scoring early. But yeah, the starting shooting guard Devo with 19 minutes, that tells the story for tonight. So we move forward with that. Devo gets his first F of the season. He's been decent lately with the 3-point shot specifically, but tonight, man, was just not it. Not it at all. Now we move up to Isaiah Hartenstein, the starting big man now, in Mitch's absence. Now with iHart, he played 24 minutes, went 2 of 4, got us 7 points, 4 fouls though, got hit in the face, minus 18, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, a quieter night for iHart, but 3 steals. So he battled like he usually does. He struggled with their size a little bit. Obviously, Goga's got length. Also, Paolo and Mo. And he had a quiet night rebounding wise. He usually does more than 3 rebounds, in 24 minutes. So another down night for another Nick. So I'll give iHeart a C minus for tonight. Now Buzzer Beater said nobody else on the Knicks better get a C minus except IQ. It's basically going to be the story tonight. Frustrating loss, and the New York Knicks got to bounce back. But as poorly as we played, this is a game we still could have won. So that says a lot of things. It says that the Magic aren't quite there yet, but it also says that we are talented where we can turn it on, for 2 quarters, 3 quarters, and still win some games. But tonight we were playing a good team, so you're not going to beat a good team, playing streaky like we were tonight. So, yeah, with that said, man, we're going to have some letdown games from iHeart. Now that he's asked to play, starting minutes, that's just the way it goes. And it's going to be frustrating because we really are dealing without Mitch, right? We're not going to hear any Orlando fan or, national media people bring up Mitch tonight. They're just going to look at it like, oh, the Magic beat the Knicks. They're moving in the right direction. So we have to just put up with it. No excuses. Mitch is out for the season now, what looks like. We do need to make a signing real quick. Taj Gibson playing major minutes is not going to cut it. The New York Knicks do need to make that move, whether it's Andre Drummond, another big that you could throw those names out there. I think the Knicks need another player, not like a specific starter, but just a guy who can back up iHeart and give us similar production from iHeart off the bench with good rebounding, some rim protection, hopefully some offense as well. So we really, really do need that. Jericho Sims continues to be out of the rotation right now because of his injury. We'll see whether he gets back in, right, when he returns. But with that said, let's look at the bench now with Quickly. Tonight he was 4 of 10 and 3 of 7 from 3. So on a night where the Knicks shot 20% from deep, Quickly shot 42%. So shout out to Quick. 12 points, 4 fouls, was aggressive in his minutes like he is, was using the floater, getting into the mid-range as well, and then, like I said, hitting the threes. So quickly could have played more tonight, should have played more. One of the better Knicks tonight. He was in the +3, and as the sixth man, did his job well. So I'll give quickly a solid B for his effort tonight to be in the plus, in the plus minus, but also, be that guy that, usually when the Knicks starters can struggle and it's a loss, we usually talk about quickly having a good game. He is one of the more consistent players on this team. And, it's fair to start criticizing the coach, the minutes, when he's not playing more, and someone has to start losing some minutes, right, if they're too inconsistent, right? At least RJ Barrett did contribute late. In the other game, he was awful, but 36 minutes tonight, quickly with 28. So we might start to see those minutes, that minutes gap bridged a little. Quentin Grimes played 13 tonight. Devo played 19. So, with that said, the way to make way for quickly getting more minutes, it's basically got to be someone in the starting unit. It's going to be Devo or it's going to be Barrett, because he already plays the minutes he gets off the bench. For him to play more, he's going to have to take some minutes from a starter. The other night, RJ Barrett got subbed back in for quickly, and it frustrated most people I talked to. It was a poor decision, poor substitution, no doubt about it. Tibbs made that call. It's good that he does have faith in a certain player. I got no issue with that. But you got to read the game as also how it's going. RJ Barrett's a fifth-year player, right? He can, he's not going to lose confidence, right? If he's benched in the fourth quarter, he's going to try to be better in the next game. But for the team, you got to make the right decisions for the New York Knicks and how the game is going. And Tibbs didn't do that against Oklahoma. Tonight, quickly was one of the better Knicks. He should have played more. But a lot of the Knicks that did play in that second quarter, though, do need to take responsibility for their poor efforts tonight, because that second quarter really killed us with 15 points only. But quickly, again, it's been one of the more consistent Knicks recently. So, and it's helping his case, right, to get paid and get paid handsomely coming up in this off-season. And it's going to be huge, the decision at lying ahead for the Knicks. But I do feel like we'll have a better idea at after the trade deadline, whether we've cleared more space for quickly or whether we've included him in trade talks. That's going to tell us a lot about what the organization intends to do with quickly, moving forward, man. But from 3-point tonight, quickly was swishing, so salute. A guy I mentioned earlier now, Josh Hart. Frustrating tonight, Josh Hart. Right, I thought his second quarter was terrible. He finished 2 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from deep, 4 boards, 2 fouls, 2 turnovers, 5 points, and a +6 and a plus minus. But 30 minutes, that's a pretty poor production from Hart in 30 minutes. But the box score doesn't tell it all. I thought Hart was committing bad turnovers, boneheaded plays, and he contributed. Just the lack of flow that second quarter. It was one of the hardest quarters to watch for the season. It was out of control, is a good way to describe it. That's the way Hart plays sometimes. It's frustrating. I know his game, he does like to bring energy. He does like to bring speed, change of pace off the bench. Sometimes it can come unstuck. It is with poor decisions. So I didn't like Hart's game tonight too much for me. So he's going to get a D minus for me tonight. I thought he really hurt us tonight, especially in that second quarter, which contributed to that poor showing. 15 points to 29. We got outscored by 14 in the quarter. So he's got to be better than that. And let's bounce back in Indiana because we need to stop this skid, fam. So next guy up is Taj. Right, we got Taj up in here. Welcome to the team. Taj is playing meaningful minutes now. 15 tonight. He was 1 of 1 from the field, +7, 4 fouls, 1 block, 4 rebounds. So Taj is there as just a live body, set screens, rebound, run the floor, ideally get a block or two, draw a good charge like he does. I think tonight he almost did get that charge, but he was still moving, and it was overturned. But frustrating for the Knicks. Not going to be too ruthless with Taj because we know his limitations, what he's here to do. But Taj is going to get a D, right? Just the fact is that no Nick really made their major impact tonight on the game outside of Julius. So, but with that said, in 15 minutes, pulled in a couple rebounds, got 2 points, +7. Could be a D+ tonight, but we'll keep it moving. With Q Dot, now Quentin Grimes step up to the podium, playing his trade off the bench right now for the New York Knicks. He was 1 of 3 from deep, 3 points, two boards, 1 steal. Quentin Grimes, I thought, played decent defense, but 13 minutes, a +1. Now Q Dot isn't getting that many attempts. It's frustrating to see. He should be shooting more than 3 times. He shot 33% from deep. He should be shooting more than 3 times, but he only played 13 minutes. So we could have used his defense out there a little bit more. So that's a decision I don't agree with Thibodeau. You play Hart 30. I would have played Grimes a little bit more tonight. We needed some 3-point shooting on a night where we shot 20%, right, from deep. So I'm going to give Quentin Grimes his D+ for tonight. We keep it moving. But I would have given Grimes more minutes tonight with his with the team situation. Needing more threes. He's not hurting you defensively on a night where we needed more shooting and spacing, especially with Randle attacking, Brunson struggling, Barrett struggling early. Tonight could have been a game, and Devo struggling, of course. Could have been a game that Grimes got some more minutes as well. So that about wraps it up for the players. Tom Thibodeau now. Step up to the podium. Used these challenges tonight, did Tibbs. The Knicks got a little unlucky with some of them, but with Tibbs' performance, like I said, I don't agree with the substitutions against Oklahoma tonight. Not as bad, but interestingly, in that second quarter, I would have pulled the pin on that bench unit a little earlier. It was a tough watch. Late down the stretch, I thought he did okay with the lineups to close the game out. The Knicks made the run, of course, almost pulled the game out. So another mixed bag from Tom Thibodeau. So I'll give him I'll give Tom Thibodeau a C- for tonight's coaching performance. It's a bad loss. A loss that we shouldn't have really took. I think we should have won this one if we played well in the second quarter. Leading after the first by 3 points. It looked good after the first quarter. I thought we would just go, from strength to strength, especially after losing to Oklahoma. This was not a must win, but it was an important win. The New York Knicks fell short. So we'll see how we do tomorrow against Indiana, of course, as we continue along. About to shout out the chat and look at the road ahead. But we got, like I said, a new addition as we give the officiating their grades tonight, because no one should get off scot-free for good and bad performances. We give out good grades if you did a good performance, and a grade for a bad performance. So tonight's officials tonight was one of the more bizarre games. You know, it lacked flow, and I think the refs definitely did contribute towards that. The players certainly did as well, but specifically the officials. Late in the game, they were awful, plain and simple, for me tonight, and I really feel like they missed a lot of calls. They missed too many calls. They had players frustrated, arguing. There was technicals given out. It was just a bad officiated game, right, from top to bottom. So I'm going to give the officials an F tonight. Not going to call the officials out by name. They're just going to be the officials, because I had to take the faces off these guys, right? I don't want no one coming at me, right? The officials are the officials tonight. You can look up their names, but I thought their performances were bad tonight. So that's it. We don't give out a game ball because we don't win. Now let's move ahead, you know, and see what's up for around the league and what's happening in this big matchup tomorrow. So the New York Knicks, now 17-14 on the season. It's starting to really get to that point where there's concern levels growing for me personally. Now I know later in the season we are going to get hot and we are going to play our better basketball. I'm confident of that. But right now, we're going to just nurse our way through this tough schedule. It's not going to be easy. 5 games above 500, if we won tonight, would have been perfect. But losing, we're 3 games only over 500, and we're starting to get to that point where if I was offered this to start the year, it wouldn't be an automatic, yeah, I would take that, you know? Like if tonight we had won and it was 18-13 on the season, I would have signed up for that to start the year. 5 games over 500, you know, leading into the new year. But right now, 17-14, with a tough schedule coming through, we really lost some disappointing games, right? You know, if we want to climb the standings, we've got to beat teams like Oklahoma, Orlando. You got to start to beat some good teams at some point. You know, you can't just rely on beating down, you know, bad teams. So what I mean by that is, you know, as we look at the standings that I'm about to bring up now, and we will find out where the Knicks sit, because, as I mentioned, the NBA in the East is really coming up thick and fast on the Knicks. So yeah, 17-14. Like I said, the Knicks are now in the play-in territory, which is not good. Cleveland have leapfrogged the Knicks. The Magic now move up to 2 games clear of the Knicks. So that was another frustrating element. 19-12 for the Orlando Magic. The Knicks are 17-14, of course. Tomorrow night is going to be even more important, because if the Pacers beat us, we will go back down to 8th. And obviously the Brooklyn Nets, the Bulls. I'm not really worried about the Bulls, the Hawks catching us. The Bulls, the Hawks are a long way back. The Raptors, they're in big trade talk sort of situations. We're not there yet. The Bulls have kind of salvaged the season a little bit recently, but I don't see them making a big move. But really, we don't want to be talking about 7, 8, and 9. We want to be talking about 4, 5, and 6. So at some point, the Knicks are going to have to go on a run. When is it going to come? We got, of course, Indiana, like we know, and then I'm going to flip the page, and we're going to look at January now, fam. We got Minnesota on New Year's Day. welcome to the new year. Um, then Chicago, Philly, Washington, Portland, with a couple days rest. Dallas, Memphis gets a little easier, I would say, but we really got to beat Indiana. Hopefully, we can beat Chicago and Minnesota. The Minnesota one is at home, which is good to see. We obviously lost to Minnesota earlier in the year, but we can't be dealing with streakiness. That's not the time for this right now. Now is go time, and also, guys, for our best players to show up. More than just one of our players, right? It can't be a night where Randle shows up, Brunson doesn't. Brunson shows up, Randle and Barrett don't show up, right? It can't be always Emmanuel Quickly only showing up off the bench as well. So, as I said, my concern level is growing with this team as currently constructed. I feel like there will be some moves come the period. There always is with Leon Rose. It's just a matter of uh, is it a sideways move, to clear a logjam? Is it a smaller addition, or is it going to be a major shake-up in terms of the rotation? Um, it's going to depend on how our record is, how we're looking closer to the end of January. Of course, I feel like this is an easier month than December. December was just flat out ridiculous with this West Coast trip that we went through. We ended up salvaging some big wins, but then we kind of gave it back with some losses tonight and against Oklahoma. Um, so we're really going to have to make some, pull off some more statement wins. So through January, uh, I'm going to predict that we do bounce back. We beat Indiana because I've got to be positive. I've got to think that this club is going to come out tomorrow and try to make a statement, but it's a back-to-back. You just never know, fam. So that's tough, right? No wins are going to come easy. And like I said, with these teams here, um, who knows if the Nets could go on a little run. Maybe the Bulls start to make a run. You just don't know. But I don't want to be in this play-in territory, right? We want to do the heavy lifting now so that later in the year we can cruise into a fifth or fourth spot. Um, it's all about matchups. Sixth will get you a matchup with Philly if they stay in third. So it's not the end of the world if we finish sixth. I like our matchup against Philly, but ideally this 4-5 matchup is where I want to be. So the Heat have surprised me a little bit, making that little run, 19-12. Can they keep it up? Tonight, like I said, I wasn't sold on Orlando. The fact that we were still in the game late, we had no real right to be in that game to win it, but we were still in it. Orlando is still temperamental, still young, still figuring ways to win in this league and put out, and close out good teams. So they might struggle against better teams later in the year. I'm not. If my concern meter is rising, it's probably at a 7 right now. So it's not critical, but I don't want it to get to an 8. Right, I want it to go back down to a 6, 5, 4. So what's your level of concern meter right now? I'm going to put my concern meter at a 7. Purely for the fact is, we don't want to give up some of the good work we did earlier in the year. I don't want to go anywhere below 500 or, anywhere below 3 games over 500 right now. But what's going to be is more telling is the play of the starting lineup, DiVincenzo and Barrett. And what are they going to do with Quickly? Right, decisions are going to have to be made. Right, who's more consistent right now out of those guys, those 3, and how is Tibbs going to adjust the minutes? Because Quickly can't be more productive than those guys, be getting less minutes. It just doesn't make sense. If you want to win. Now Dermot says, agree fully. Hopefully we get back and pull off a big win. on the road tomorrow against Indiana, but we've seen what Indiana could do this year, making the championship game of the in season. Playing at home, Tyrese, I think, might not play. I think that status has not been confirmed yet. But if he does play, it's going to be an uphill task. It really is. The Pacers have made an adjustment. They've taken Obi out of the rotation. Out of the starting lineup. He's in the rotation, but out of the starting lineup now. So they're making adjustments. What are the Knicks going to do? Is going to be really interesting, fam. Now let's see what's happening around the league. We have Phoenix about to pull off a big win. They needed that. Boy, man. Oklahoma up 20 on the Denver Nuggets on the road in Denver. So that's huge. The story to watch as we look at the West standings after this. But Oklahoma are legit. Right? They absolutely made a believer out of me now after beating us. I thought they were legit before beating us, but after beating us, I'm even more of a believer. So hopefully the Nets continue to lose. That's good. Cleveland lost tonight, so that was important. That was big for us too. Toronto lost as well, so that's important. The Hawks lost as well. So although we did take a loss tonight, at least those teams below us in the Hawks, the Raptors, and the Cavs all lost as well. So that's lucky. So at least the Cavs are right there for the taking, half a game back. The Knicks of the Cavs, the Pacers are right there, half a game back of us. They're going to be circling us tomorrow night, fam, at home. They're going to be absolutely pumped up tomorrow night. We need to be on our A game tomorrow, and we need to bring it to beat the Indiana Pacers. Hopefully we see a better performance from these Knicks. But yeah, like I said, the Nets lost and the Hawks lost and the Raptors lost tonight. So as I said earlier, they're not teams I'm really worried about making a run. By the end of the season, I think we'll be comfortably ahead of the Nets, Hawks, and Raptors. The Bulls are an unknown right now. The Pacers, of course, right there. The Cavs, the Magic. So, which side of the play-in picture are we going to be in? That's going to be telling, fam. So, that is what it is. And I think that it's a nice wake-up call for us and the New York Knicks, right? So we can't afford these lapses, but Julius Randle is really coming to play recently, and he's really stamping his authority on the season for us around the NBA. He's been on a tear, putting up all-star numbers, dating since way back to the early November period. So Julius Randle offensively is putting up and handling his side of the business. Now, Jalen Brunson, of course, had a huge game not too long ago, but really he needs to be more consistent for us to beat good teams, right? I'm talking about Orlando's, Oklahoma's, Cleveland's, Indiana's. We need our guys firing. That's just simple. Barrett's. We're not a team that can rely on, just the all-NBA guy from night to night. We need a better team effort as well. Obviously, we're dealing without Mitch, and defensively, we're struggling at times with rim protection, right? But the three-point shooting has really started to fall down. Obviously, against teams that are longer, I've got my concerns whether we could, we could keep up that high percentage that we're coming into the season. Into this this stretch recently with, with the 3-point ball. DiVincenzo had been shooting well coming in. Quickly's been shooting well on the season. Randle has reduced his 3-point shots. But RJ Barrett has been a disappointment from three. Who else? Obviously, Brunson, you know, on the season is doing well. But like I said, he's been streaky a little bit from three recently. Um, and guys like Grimes and Devo and Barrett, really, those are the swing guys, the wing spot. And obviously Quickly as well, from time to time, can be streaky as well. But uh, he's been the best spark off the bench, right? So now in terms of potential moves, there's been a lot of talk about DeJounte Murray for the New York Knicks. Now, I don't see that move too likely. I know that there could be guys in the front office that are interested in DeJounte. He's a talent. Defensively, he could lock down some better players. He could also score in the mid range, but he's not a 3-point shooter as well. So I'm not discrediting no one's reporting. I think the Knicks probably had conversations about it. There's some guys in the front office that probably feel a certain way about DeJounte Murray. I personally don't see that trade happening. That's just the way I see it. I think the New York Knicks might be looking at something else. We'll wait and see what else comes through. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how they approach it in terms of the Quickly decision, which outgoing salary, if it is a major piece like DeJounte, which outgoing pieces are going to be. Right, you'll have to speculate it's going to be, a guy like a Devo or an RJ Barrett, somebody of that similar position that is earning decent money, because just the Evan Fournier money is not enough, right, in that kind of deal, to get it done. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Replay squad, let me know in the comment section as well. I would love to hear your grades tonight. Wiz is in the building. What's good, fam? Hope you're well. You say, I was at a 7 concern meter in October and then an 8 when Mitch got hurt, and now you're at a 9 with RJ and Tim's decision making. I certainly understand your point. I feel you in terms of it's not good seeing what RJ is going through at the minute with Tibbs as well, with the decisions. Also, I guess the East is a little stronger than I expected it to be as well. In terms of Orlando, making the leap. The Heat are a little surprising to me, 19 and 12. Obviously the Heat are going to heat again. They pulled off Jaime Jaquez acquisition. He's factoring into the season more than most people thought. Last year was Gabe Vincent, Max Strauss. This time it's Jaquez, right? So the Miami Heat continue to find contributors that nobody really felt, or not many people felt that would factor in this much. So yeah, I'm a little concerned about the East. Later in the season, I feel like it's all to do with the schedule. I think the Knicks can get some wins, play more consistently. I think we'll be okay for that 6th spot, 5th, hopefully 4th. That might be a little bit too rich this year without a big trade. But just avoid the play-in. I think if the Knicks end up in a play-in, not going to say it's going to be a disaster, but obviously we could still qualify for the play, after the play-in, make the playoffs, etc. But I just feel like, you don't want to be going into those games where it's a must-win, in a play-in situation, right? Playoffs just sounds that much better. So my concern meter is at a 7. It's going to be maybe at an 8 if we do lose to Indiana and then we lose to Minnesota. But right now I'm keeping it at a 7. In terms of players individually, RJ Barrett, my concern meter is probably at an 8 right now as well. More so that we saw a better version of RJ early in the year. So what is it that we're seeing differently right now? We're seeing a guy who went out for like 3-4 games, has come back and hasn't quite found his rhythm again from 3. But the rhythm was there earlier in the year, so hopefully he can get that back. I haven't completely given up on RJ Barrett at all like some people have. I I do have a little less faith in terms of what the front office is going to do with him now, um, moving forward, because I know they're going to start to get itchy. They're going to start to, want to pull off a trade if the Knicks aren't where they want to be, and he is a candidate because he is a player that they included in a package for Donovan Mitchell 2 years ago. So that already tells me that they're okay with, in some kind of scenario, trading RJ Barrett. But obviously, Spider Mitchell is an all-star, so you know you got to part with somebody to get in, a talent upgrade as well. But as a team, I'm still evaluating Dante DiVincenzo closely as the starter. Right, he's not off limits to be traded as well in a bigger deal. Quentin Grimes been one of the more disappointing stories this year, just as a whole. If we're just talking about stories, being relegated back to the bench, losing, his starting spot. Now, 3 shot attempts tonight. We don't, there's no way to quantify what Quentin Grimes is for this team. This ain't a rookie. This ain't a sophomore. This is a player in their 3rd year. So, we're done with the coddling, with the baby right now. This is real-ish bleep stuff. In terms, if I'm Leon Rose, I'm evaluating like my job is on the line. I'm evaluating like I'm the president of this team, and I need to do what's necessary to make this team better. You can't fall in love with a player because you drafted them or because they were drafted at a certain position. If they were a rookie or they were a sophomore, okay, you could say it's way too early. You want to see them develop more. With in the case of a Grimes and a RJ specifically, I think they're past that level of not saying there's not more development in them, but I think they're past that early stage where you think there's going to be a huge pop. Players don't generally just go from their 3rd year and 5th years to just completely exploding, and their game changing dramatically. So there is a lot of food for thought for these guys. Of course, they're not exactly ideal wings either. That doesn't help them at all. They're not 6'6". They're not, in terms of Grimes, he's not 6'6", 6'7", and RJ Barrett at the 3, he's not exactly 6'9" as well. So they're already kind of facing an uphill battle to make an impact defensively for their size as well. So I'm predicting it to be a pretty active part of the trade period discussions. At least we might back out of deals and we might not end up doing nothing, but I think we're going to be active in discussions. I think the New York Knicks, Leon Rose, James Dolan, this is a year where the Knicks expected to get back to the 6th, 5th, 4th seeds again, at least not take a step back. Going back to the play-in would be a step back for me. So, that's my thoughts, really. I mean, I know it's stating the obvious, but going back from the 5th seed back to the play-in, that's going to be regression. We're looking for succession, so... and then you got a guy like Emmanuel Quickley who is still playing like he has upside, is still growing as a player, as well. That hasn't been paid yet. So I know him and his agent, one of the reasons they, held out for more is because they were looking around the league like, this guy got his money, RJ Barrett got his money, this guy got his money. I want my money. I want my money now. If that guy can get money, I want money. So I think, quickly he's going to be somewhere where he's going to get the most money. If the Knicks don't want to give him the money, he's going to get that money somewhere. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think his play this year, he's done the right thing so far. His play hasn't really fallen off at all. I think he was okay to bet on himself and make sure that he gets the bag. So we wait to see, man. Buzz's concern meter is at a 7.5, slightly higher than mine. Too, I agree with you in terms of around that range. The Knicks have fooled us before. They've gone on a huge run. I just think we rely heavily on a couple of guys to produce, and they are some special guys. You know, they can play, they can put the team on their back. But yeah, my concern is that we can't just get a 30 piece from Brunson and Randle every single night just to beat a good team. We need more than that. You know, yeah, with no Mitchell Robinson right now, that's another factor too. Now Wiz says I expected Orlando and Indy to dramatically improve. Miami is always a threat because of Riley, primarily, and Spoelstra. So only Philly falling apart would have me comfortable with my Knicks in the top five. Yep. Yeah, I expected Orlando to be better too. Maybe not as good as they were early. That they are coming down a little bit, but yeah, they've got tonight just tells us, man, they've got depth. Like I said, they've got no faults. I think he's still on the team. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they've got Joe Ingles out, and they're missing Jonathan Isaac as well. So I know they can't, fit all their bodies together. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can fit them all if they do get healthy. But yeah, I would take a Markel Fultz on this team all day. Um, Jalen Suggs, you saw tonight, he still can't shoot like you would expect, or like you would hope. Uh, but he is a very solid player. Cole Anthony still as well. He's not not a needle mover, uh, but he's very solid too. So he got a very cost friendly contract. I think 3 years for 3 years for 33 or something. Very 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 solid contract for Orlando and for Cole Anthony as well. That's smart business. But Orlando, all they need is, I think, to add one more superstar on that team. They can be legit as well. Wiz also says Fournier, Grimes, or IQ plus Obi exception matches the salary for DeJounte. So we all need to do is negotiate the number of picks, but also want to trade RJ and Grimes or IQ plus picks for Markkanen as well. That's another big name on the market right now. I think he would be a good fit. I think Markkanen would be a better fit for the New York Knicks for the size of the shooting. I think DeJounte fits this team too. I just don't think he fits as well as a 3-point shooter does as well. But yeah, I love the dog. I love the defense he brings. I'm sick of seeing wings guards go off on the Knicks. We hoped Quentin Grimes would be that stopper. He dubbed the Grimes stopper, starting shooting guard off the bench. But it's been a disappointment, unfortunately, this season. He's lost his starting role. So we've got to see how the season pans out for him. But I'm concerned about losing value on Quentin Grimes. But all it takes is for Grimes to be a bench player for the rest of the year and just be mediocre. And I think that cap of getting couple of first round picks or a lesser blockbuster deal with Grimes included reduces. Unfortunately, we saw Obi's value decrease too as the years went by. So we got to get Quentin Grimes more shots. If he's playing on the bench, that's the reason I wanted that to happen, so that he could get more shots. So tonight he only got 3. Right, he's got we're got to be better than that situation as well. Concerns over overplaying Hart. 30 minutes tonight when he's struggling. That's another issue. We rely on Josh's size too much. That we got to overplay the guy. Offensively, he's hurting us most of the time offensively. Not all the time because he can hit some shots, but offensively he's very passive. Not offensive minded. Defensively he's excellent, of course. So rebounds well. I know that, but yeah, we can't overplay Hart. Too much. So that's disappointing. Yeah, with that situation, we wait to watch closely. But look, we're back tomorrow night, and it's been good chopping this thing up. although it's been a poor loss, but the show goes on, like they say. And the New York Knicks now at 17-14, right? Now is the time in this season. We're hitting the critical part of the season where the trade wins, the buzz comes. Who is going to step up, right? Sick of the streakiness, inconsistencies, all of that. Some of these players are the third-year players, some of them fifth year, some of them more. We're dealing with injuries, yes, but right now the New York Knicks just have to be better, right? Find ways to win against these teams. Orlando, Indiana, Minnesota even. I don't care if they're second in the or top of the West, right? I don't believe they're world beaters. We've got Miami coming up in January. We've got Philly coming up in the first week of January. We've got a little road trip in Dallas and Memphis. We've got a heavy home schedule. I want to see us take care of business at home with the Orlandos, the Houstons, the Washingtons, the Raptors. That middle of the January window is going to be big as well. So let's see what happens, right? We stay tuned on the next episode of Knicks Buzz. Appreciate the chat once again for showing up. And Replay Squad, salute. Let's get it in Indiana. We'll be live post-game tomorrow night again to chop it up. I'm CT. Peace out.